I appreciate it so much. I'm Reuven Carlyle, and I'm proud to join you as a husband, a father of 4 kids, as an entrepreneur in the wireless and the software industry, and as a citizen legislator. It would mean a great deal to me if you would just take another moment to recognize in this incredibly difficult time in our nation, if you would recognize those people who've engaged in public life and public service, my colleagues in the legislature and all of the elected officials. Thank you so much for your service. I'm incredibly proud to be a partner in service with the Washington Conservation Voters, which we all know has a deep sense of moral authority. And in Olympia, WCV is seen as the premier environmental policy think tank, but it's also seen as the premier environmental political action tank. And in recognition of that, rather than a policy lecture today, I thought I would share some thoughts about our deeper values that brings us to this very moment. In my faith, my favorite prayer and blessing is Baruch atah Adonai, Eloheinu melech haolam, shehechianu v'kiyamanu v'higianu lazman chazeh. And the spiritual meaning, the deeper religious conviction of this prayer is to be thankful for every aspect of our lives, our journey, our pain, our history, our experiences, our love, all of that brings us to this very moment, on this very day, in this very room together. Each of us has a story that forms the DNA of who we are. Think about all of the experiences that have touched something deep in us that brings us to this very moment together. For me, as a kid growing up in Bellingham, at the mouth of the Nooksack River were giant salmon as a kid. And we could literally stand on the edge with a net and haul them in during season. And the hippies in the commune that we were a part of followed the tribes, and they built salmon smokehouses. And of course, they were smoking so much marijuana, I'm not sure how much salmon got smoked at the time, but it was a powerful experience as a kid. I am incredibly interested in deep structural systems issues. How do we raise emotionally engaged children? How do we raise our nation's civic dialogue? How does the money come into government, and how does it go out? And environmentally, the question of our time is, how do we grow our economy in a gracious and a responsible way, using less energy and less water and less emissions and less of a heavy, oppressive footprint on the world? I believe that the nature of all social movements and all activism and all religion is, in fact, love. And regardless of your views, of your secular, your religious nature, your political disposition, or your business interests or your politics, it's simply not possible to see that the earth is wobbling under the weight of our times. Mahatma Gandhi and Martin Luther King and the Dalai Lama and others carry as their central tenet to walk humbly upon the earth. And we learn from those moral authority thought leaders that the era of dominion over the soil and the water and the earth is over. And we need to reimagine a time of greater balance. And so I'm excited to tell you that recently a large group, bipartisan Democrats and Republicans in urban and rural and east and west, along with Hillary Franz and a whole bunch of others, we went to Denmark and Sweden on a clean energy study mission. And we studied best practices in the world around transportation and design. And we learned how biomass can be a fabulous input to high-value energy systems and really stretched around best practices. But of course, on a deeper level, the takeaway, the lesson, is that we can govern with a sense of conviction and intentionality about building a 21st century clean clean energy future. It was a powerful experience, and I hope that in the weeks and the months ahead that we will see those dividends. If, by chance and by work, in the weeks and the months ahead, there is a new majority in the Washington State Senate, I can promise you this: you will see deep systems work on the deep structural issues of our time. We will do what we can to embrace the work of building an environmentally responsible 21st century economy that is socially just, that's ethically responsible, and that tackles the deep structural issues of equity and fairness and responsibility statewide. I can promise you that we will strive to modernize our tax laws so that we stop subsidizing the fossil fuel industry and have a price on the externality of carbon. We will strive for that. And I'm excited to say that we will work to look at salmon restoration and other issues holistically and in a responsible way that takes us back to a time and forward to a time that we can all be proud of. 50 years from today, I think all of our hope and all of our expectation is that there'll be a fabulous room of leaders in the community who will gather. And at that time, they'll tackle the structural issues of our day, of their day. And my hope is that my daughter Addie, who is here, and my son Zev, who is here, that they'll attend at that time, and they will have the ability to say that those of us here in our time acted with responsibility and with humility and with great intentionality on their behalf. And that's my hope as a legislator, and that's my prayer as a father. We're so much more as a nation than what we've become. We're so much more as a nation than what we've become. We are so much more. I hope that we can rebuild together. Thank you so much.